Okay. So a translation, no one should have their devices out right now, by the way. We've been having severe issues with device usage. What type of transformation is a translation? Yeah, it slides along the graph. It's just a movement. I like to say translation is a slide. Now, we didn't plan these notes out super well, so we're actually not going to graph this first example. We're just going to find the transformation using this table here. We're going to find it algebraically. So it says translate the triangle 3 units to the right and 4 units down. So we have the points A, B, and C. If we're going 3 units to the right, what value do you think is changing? Your x value, right? Left and right is your x-axis movement. It is your vertical shift. So, if I'm going right 3, am I adding or subtracting 3? Adding 3. Good. So we're going to do, for each one of these points, we're going to add 3 to the x value. Okay, so good. In Algebra 1, you learned that sometimes with the x movement, you do the opposite. This is only for equation transformation. So like quadratics and upwards, you do the opposite for the x movement. This is not true here. We're just moving points on a graph. The reason it's opposite is because of the squaring and the cubing. Okay, this is just normal. So, good point though. Now, we also want to move 4 units down. So that is the y movement. And downward, do you think that's positive or negative? Negative. So we're going to do what to that 2 right there? So, whoa. We're going to subtract 4. So what is negative 1 plus 3? 2. And what's 2 plus negative 4? Negative 2. So that's our new A. Now we're going to do the same for B and C. We're going to do negative 1 plus 3 and 5 what? Yes, 5 minus 4. So what is negative 1 plus 3? And what is 5 minus 4? Good. And what are we going to do on C? Same thing, which was what? Yes, and? Good. Very, very straightforward, right? Not too trickiness with translation. So remember, down means we go negative, and right means we're adding. Now, before we get into doing this on a graph, we do need to go over the notations for translation. So just like when we did probability and somewhat in geometric terms, we need to know the notation for what's happening here. There are 2 ways to write it. One is algebraically, and the other is geometrically. Algebra is just like what we did up here. We started with xy. And where did xy go to? What happened to the x value? We added 3, and what happened to the y value? This is the algebraic notation for a translation. Now, geometric's my favorite because it's quite simple. This is a translation, so we do a big capital T for translation, and then in subscript, we write what happened to x and y. So x increased by how much? And y decreased by how much? Good. Boom, that's the geometric notation for a translation. Now, before we move on also, do you guys remember what you called the original image in a transformation? I like parent function. You're going to need that in algebra too. This is the pre-image. Pre-image. And the translated image is just called the image. So pre means to come before, right? That's why it's called the pre-image. Now, what I want you to do, and I think that you can do this on your own, is you need to graph these 4 points, making sure you put A, B, C, and D on the points, and then translate 4 to the left and, my gosh, 6 up. Now on a graph, what do you do to translate? Do you have to, yes?
We do this in 2 different colors?
You can, sure. What do you do on a graph? Do you have to literally add the numbers to these numbers? No. Add or subtract? No, what do you do? Yeah, you just count along the graph. So you just count 4 units left and 6 units up. So you guys go ahead and try this problem. So just to check, I am now going to translate this just to make sure you did it right. So you count 4 to the left. I like to do swoops. And 6 up. You don't have to. I just like them. And then we're going to label this with what? A prime. A prime. B, 1, 2, 3, 4. They're ones.
Okay.
No, they're ones. What does prime mean? 1.
So X will be 44.
No.
No?
No. So that is the new shape that you should have gotten. Right there. That is called our what? What do we call that? Image. Good. And this is our pre-image.
That is too much to look at.
So, if I want to write down the algebraic notation, how would I write this? So you have to do xy first, then arrow. X plus 4? We're going to the left, so it's minus 4. And y? Good. And then the geometric is going to look like what? T. Beautiful. Any questions on translations?